If you want to know the latest AI updates, how AI can save kangaroos' lives, but also how it can make your beer taste better, keep listening to today's episode. Welcome to the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Miles Davis, my co-host Chris Branch. This is the daily 10-minute podcast where we take out all of the techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, content creator, and marketer wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one subject. And today, as it's Friday, as you know, it's the news. We're looking at what's been going on in the world of AI this last week. And this week has been I would say it's probably been on one of the more quieter weeks, platform-wise, definitely, that's been going on in AI. But there's also been some very interesting and peculiar stories, which we're going to get into. But before we get into those, let's look at the platforms and what's been happening in the world of platforms. I think the biggest, or one of the biggest updates this week is Dali 3. So if you are part of the premium ChatGPT, OpenAI ChatGPT, you get Dali 3, which is one of the main image generators. And what it's lacked compared to the other generators or the main generator like Midjourney is the ability to edit. So what would happen? You type in a prompt, you'll get your image back. Something might not be right with it. Now, instead of just going and changing a color or changing certain things, you have to then do a whole prompt and get a new image. What you've now got is the ability to edit within Dali 3, which is when we talk about gimmicks and game changers, this is a game changer because hopefully it will save people a lot of time. I've been using it already and I've already seen some really great results. So I'm very happy with that. So thank you very much, OpenAI and the Dali 3 team.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they actually invented in-painting and Dali 1 had the first in-painting feature. But as you say, Dali 3 has only just got this ability back. So it's a great return of a very useful feature. And in other updates, Suno 3, which is a generative music platform, has just launched and it's blowing people's minds already. Like I've seen up to 4 minutes is capable to generate. So a full song with an introduction, a chorus, a ballad, an outro, every single element. You can feed it your own lyrics. It can generate its own lyrics. And they're going to be partnering with other tools in order to make music videos like we predicted in a previous episode, which is pretty cool. And the last bit on this is that somebody on a TikTok video has already coined it. They said, give this thing 6 weeks and someone will have a chart topper generated through this platform. So let's see if that bears fruit.
That's crazy. The fact that I could type in a prompt and it could create my own beat, my own lyrics, someone singing or rapping or whatever it may be on a song in a couple of minutes, if not even that, a couple of seconds. That's and the fact that it's really good now. Imagine what it's going to be like in a year's time. I think 6 weeks might be a bit like too soon, but this time next year, I wouldn't be surprised unless the chart starts saying what we were saying on a previous episode, that AI generated music can't be allowed or it might be allowed. We'll see.
Definitely. Yeah. In other news, we've had Midjourney update into something called character reference, and they also introduced style reference, which is a new little feature within their platform. And this means that you can essentially upload things that Midjourney's not trained on and use these within your prompts. Now, this does open the window a little bit to even further trademark infringement, IP infringement, and you have to be very careful when using this. But they've opened the floodgates to all images and not just the 10 billion images that Midjourney was originally trained on.
Yeah, we'll do an episode on this definitely because this is such a really good feature there. Yeah, Chris, you were showing me some stuff that you've been doing on your LinkedIn page, and everyone, you should check out Chris's LinkedIn page. Just Google Chris Branch. You can Google it, but you can also put it in LinkedIn, Chris Branch, and you'll see his page come up, and you just see some of the things that he's been using when it comes to this new feature on Midjourney. It's definitely one that like if you're using Midjourney, definitely have a play with it because you can get some great results. Now, outside of the platforms, as I said, it's been a quiet week with the platforms, but outside of the platforms, there's been some other interesting news. And one of the news that I was reading, and I thought that's quite funny, was that scientists are using AI to improve the taste of beer by analyzing the chemical makeup of different beer styles and developing machine learning models to predict the beer's taste based on its composition. Now, this research, I've got to give credit to the person who's putting this together, which his name, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, is Professor Kevin Verstreppen of KU Leuven University. He basically aims to unravel the complex relationship with human aroma perceptions, considering the interaction of various aroma molecules and their impact on taste. Very scientific what he's trying to do here. But essentially, what he's trying to do is make beer taste better based on the individual and using AI to kind of predict and work out what your taste buds would be like. So I think it's going to be quite an interesting taste. I'm not a beer drinker myself, but I think if you are, which is a lot of people, I think this could be again, talk about gimmick or game changer. This definitely could be a game changer.
Definitely.
So
really big one.
Yeah. Now, Chris, one of the things that you were telling me about was talking about images. What people we talk about watermarks before, but what are you telling me? What there's some platforms or some, it's called a little trick actually that people are doing is ways to get around that, especially around around the likes of ChatGPT and other large language models, essentially like learning from them. So do you want to explain this?
Yeah, so as you said, watermarks are something we've talked about a lot, and Suno and other things, they may eventually embed watermarks that are either visible to us humans or just visible to other AI in order to make people aware that this is AI generated. We saw this in Sora too, like everything produced through Sora, which is the video OpenAI model, will have a watermark on it. But in this case, what someone has produced is essentially a corruption tool, and they've given it a funky name called Nightshade. So basically what happens is, before you upload your art to the internet, you upload it to Nightshade first. That corrupts the image so that when you upload it to the internet, no human can see any corruption. But if an AI tried to learn from it, it would see a hidden cat corrupted within the image. So basically, you're like tricking the AI to make it worse by stealing your images. And it's a way of poisoning your own uploads in order to make it actually detriment AI in the future and not benefit AI. Because what people are complaining about right now is that every AI company is benefiting billions on stuff they haven't paid for, and yet there's no repercussion for artists. So this is their like protest, I guess.
Yeah, I completely understand why. I completely understand why people would do this as well. Until the AIs can work out how to get around this, and then, but like it's like with everything else, it's always a game. Yeah, it's always a game of you do this, we do this better than you, then they'll work out how to get around it again, etc. The game of cat and mouse. So that's an interesting one. Let's see what happens there. Especially, there's been a lot of stuff around music that as you know, something we like to keep an eye and keep everyone updated. Now, here is another interesting piece of news. There's actually on the VW website. So Volkswagen, the car brand, the automobile brand, they've created something called the RooBadge. Now, the RooBadge is a device that gives out sounds to deter kangaroos from approaching vehicles. It uses GPS and machine learning to play sounds that are relevant to the specific kangaroos, like how they certain elements that they would hear, and even to the case like with dogs, they can hear stuff that we as humans can't. So also it might give out, for example, bird sounds, predator sounds, and even other kangaroos' foot thumps that are natural warning signs for kangaroos. So the point is, it'll be at the badge or in the front mesh or the front shield of your car. Don't know what it is. I'm not a car person, but the front bit of your car, and it will give out sounds. It will work out if there are kangaroos around. It will give out sounds, and the whole idea is to get kangaroos off the road to stop the amount of kangaroos that get hit by cars. And when I saw this, I thought, because I actually saw this on April Fool's Day, so I was like, "Is this a joke?" And then I actually looked, and it was on the VW website, and I hope it's not a joke because it actually is a really good idea, And I think they'll start with kangaroos, but again, it could. Where I am, there's a lot of wild boars. There's a lot of wild boars. I've not hit one, but I've seen a couple run across right in front of my car. So stuff like that, I think, will be really, really handy. What's your thoughts?
What an unfortunate launch day. April Fool's Day. Who was
April
the
Fool's.
planning guy?
I don't know if that's the launch. That's just when I read it. Yeah, I don't know if that's the launch day. That's just when I saw it. Yeah.
But an amazing piece of tech, like you said. I agree. I hope it is real, and I hope it is used, and I hope it's not just a joke. Because I did see that Heinz released this phone case where you could store your ketchup in the back, and that turned out to be a gimmick. And then I also saw that Adidas produced these box shoes, which is literally their box converted into a shoe, and that was also a gimmick. So I thought both of those were actually pretty cool ideas, but neither of which turns out are actually real.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I'll buy some box shoes. I'm sure they'll sell well.
Why not?
Okay, so the last thing. Yeah, exactly. So the last thing we want to talk about very, very briefly is just what happened this week was the UK and the US signed a landmark agreement around AI safety, aiming to ensure the reasonable and responsible use of AI from different people who are creating some of these technologies. Now, again, where they're looking at ethical considerations, transparency, accountability, the advancement of AI, again, we don't want to put too many legislations because obviously we want it to advance. So yes, something like this was bound to happen. How they're going to deliver on this, I don't know. At the moment, it just they sound an agreement. Not many people know much about the ins and outs of the agreement, but I don't know. Let's just see. Let's just see. I hope it doesn't stifle things, and I hope it's some sensible people that's involved in this.
Yeah, I agree with that totally.
And in a nutshell, that's the news this week.